Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of WWT Experts. My name is Matthew Koval. I'll be your host as usual. And today we'll be talking with WWT expert Manju Palakkat about how data and data operations are driving advanced operational intelligence out in the marketplace. Manju is a product director with Worldwide Technologies on our digital team, and she is passionate about helping clients transform their business models by leveraging emerging technologies and enabling an intelligence-driven organization. Her background includes driving large-scale digital transformations, service delivery optimization, and solving complex business problems through lots of different cutting-edge technologies. A lot of great experience there. And she also has extensive experience in enabling large-scale global nearshore and offshore operations to fit into organizations' businesses. We're delighted to have her here today. So Manju, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Matt. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, great to see you too. So let's dive right in. So, we know that there's a lot of hype and a lot of excitement out in the marketplace today around generative AI. So I want to ask you, do you think organizations really need to go all in on that right now? And how does that connect into this idea of advanced operational intelligence?
Sure. So I think with every innovation, there comes challenges, and generative AI is no different. So part of the reason for the hype is because when ChatGPT was released last year, it was put directly in the hands of the end consumer. So everyone has access to it. And with that, there's excitement about the potential, as well as panic and fear that it will replace human beings, for example. In simple terms, generative AI can generate new realistic content. So these are large language models that are good at predicting the next possible word. So it doesn't have like a moral compass or critical thinking or decision-making skills like human beings. So I don't think organizations are going to be left behind if they don't deploy generative AI right away. I think the impact is more if you don't do it the right way. So the reality is that even organizations that have strong data analytics, traditional AI models instituted as part of their ecosystem are also trying to figure out how to integrate generative AI. So my recommendation is take a practical and structured approach to AI, figure out how it strategically fits into your business, be rational in your approach. I like to think of any new technology as 80% is good, 20% is bad. So understand that generative AI is not perfect. There are legal and ethical concerns. The technology hallucinates, makes up stuff, but be open-minded. Be open to experimentation and learn how it can create value for your business more responsibly.
Yeah, well, and tell us more about that. So as organizations are thinking about their strategy or they're doing some kind of prototyping or piloting, what are some of the key considerations that they should keep top of mind? Absolutely.
So there are four that comes to mind for generative AI adoption. I think the first thing that should be on top of mind is definitely about the people. One of the key differences about generative AI compared to some of the more recent technology innovations is that it impacts the knowledge worker. So it brings about significant changes in the way organizations operate, make decisions. So it helps them brainstorming ideas, creating prototypes, generating meaningful insights, generating content, and so on. So what that means is that it can have a significant impact on both productivity and creativity across the organizations. So when you think of any organization, I like to think of personas, right? So you will have people within the organization that are the innovators, that they want to go all in, create new solution, test out this technology. There's the other extreme where people are more risk averse. They think AI will replace their job. And then you have the rationalists, right? They want to take a balanced approach. They understand the technology is not perfect. They want to experiment and learn. So, I think it's important to recognize that you're dealing with this mixed bag of personas within your organization, even at the leadership level. The second consideration I would say is risk management. So understand and plan for the risks associated with AI. So you should be thinking about the guardrails, the policies that need to be put in place to ensure that AI aligns with ethical guidelines and it respects customer privacy and data security. So, think about like what data are you comfortable experimenting with, or What would you like to constrain to just internal use cases? Are you comfortable exposing to the outside world? Anything that would result in reputational harm, for example. The third consideration is leveraging partnerships. So partnerships like with Worldwide, we have a significant number of AI experts and expertise in-house. Look at your ecosystem of who you have access to, your vendors, your technology providers, academic institutions. These are all avenues by which you can get valuable insights and, therefore reduce the burden of developing all of this in-house capabilities from scratch. And finally, the fourth consideration I would say is about a data foundation. It is important to have a very strong data foundation with robust data strategies and governance frameworks, because the reality is that that's the backbone of effective generative AI systems. And that's what influences the model's ability to learn, generalize, adapt, and generate these contextually relevant outputs. So it's important that you think about data quality, the diversity of data, mitigation of bias. All of this is essential to build that trustworthy and effective generative AI application.
Yeah, I want to build on that fourth item that you highlighted there around the sort of the data framework or the data foundation. So, how do you see that building on that to then kind of transform that into the customer intelligence that organizations seek?
Absolutely. Data strategy and foundation, like I mentioned, it's very critical when it comes to translating raw data into customer intelligence. And what I mean by customer intelligence is really understanding your customer, the insights gained about the customer's behaviors, their preferences, their needs. So depending upon where you are on the data maturity spectrum within your organization, you'll be able to extract different aspects of customer intelligence. So for example, if you're at that initial level, maybe what you can do with the data is extract meaningful patterns or insights, right? So for example, you can segment customers based on criteria like behavior, value, needs, so that your marketing and sales strategies can be fine-tuned. You can use machine learning models to predict future customer behavior, needs, or risk based on the historical data. At the second level of maturity, for example, you can start applying customer intelligence and make it more personalized. So what that means is you can now personalize your marketing messages, product recommendations. You can actually understand and enhance different stages of the customer journey by analyzing behavioral data. You can actually leverage the data to inform your strategic decisions regarding, let's say, product development or marketing or customer service. The next level on that maturity spectrum would be now you have the ability to optimize your customer experience real time. So that enhances that engagement and satisfaction from a customer perspective. And finally, along that maturity curve, what you can enable is anticipatory or immersive experiences. So this will now resonate emotionally with your customer, and it fosters loyalty. So as the organization's data maturity evolves, so does its capacity to understand and engage with customers more intelligently. And so that's why the data framework and having that foundational data strategy and governance model is so important.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm going to go off script a little bit and ask you a little bit of a question around that. I'm curious, organizations struggle with like the qualitative data that they may capture, sort of that emotion, the empathy and so forth, and kind of blending that insight into more of the quantitative data that they can do. So I'm curious if you see an opportunity with AI and some of the other advances in sort of data analytics and so forth to kind of bring together that qualitative data and the quantitative data to sort of drive new customer intelligence. Is that becoming ever more possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, because there are multiple solutions that we can implement from the standpoint of, like, for example, a data capture, right? Trying to apply that intelligence layer on top of it so that you can categorize data appropriately. You can clean the data. You can ensure that the data is processed appropriately. So in order to address some of those challenges as it relates to data, you can definitely apply AI-based solutions to expedite that process and automate that process.
Cool. Well, I know that there are a lot of organizations out there experimenting with AI, wanting to get into it, thinking about their strategy, testing things. When a client approaches you or approaches us and really wants to like, all right, we're ready to really leverage AI and kind of get it into our business, but we don't really know how to start. What do you tell them? What's our methodology to help people get going in that space?
Yeah, so when clients express a desire to leverage AI in their business, but they're not sure where to start, I think the key is to guide them through a structured process so that we have the ability to identify their goals, assess what their current capabilities are, and formulate a tailored sort of AI strategy. So we always start with the client's business and their objectives. We try to understand what are their short-term goals, their long-term business goals. What are they hoping to really achieve with AI? It's important to understand their current pain points or areas where they face operational challenges, for example, where AI might help resolve that. And then we transition into opportunity identification. The reality is that AI implementation can be costly, and the benefits obviously should justify the cost. So what we try to do is we look for areas within their business where AI can be beneficial, such as customer service, for example. Is it worthwhile for us to leverage a chatbot, for example? So we try to assess the feasibility of these AI applications in their specific business context. And then, we definitely consider the investment that is required versus the potential ROI. Then we also do an assessment of their ecosystem, especially their data ecosystem. Because it is important to evaluate, is the high quality data available? Because the AI systems, they require substantial and quality data for training and accuracy. So we want to check their existing data infrastructure and determine, can it support the AI solutions? And then finally, that leads us to developing a more practical roadmap, a phased AI implementation roadmap that aligns with their business goals. We recommend starting with small-scale pilot projects so that, it allows you as the customer to gauge the effectiveness of AI in your operations without, a full-scale commitment, and therefore, be able to demonstrate the value as well. And finally, I think, it's important to reiterate, we like to take a very collaborative and partnership approach with our clients when we enable them along the way. So I see our role as, we can provide the expertise, the guidance to facilitate that AI journey. We can guide them on the ethical use of AI, the considerations around bias and transparency, and ensure that it complies with relevant laws, regulations, data privacy, and so forth. So at the end of the day, we can act as the guide and the expert, but ultimately our goal is to enable our clients to be more self-sufficient, and derive business value.
Well, and, the world is also becoming, all of us, more exposed to AI. And I think, consumers see things happening, customers for kind of a B2B context see things happening, and probably that may evolve our expectations as customers or consumers about what we think AI should be doing for us, for our customer experience. So are you seeing any particular use cases or trends there that organizations need to be mindful of, that how our expectations are changing relative to customer experience and what we see AI can deliver?
Absolutely. So I think, customers across the various industries or sectors that we deal with, they have a diverse, set of expectations and needs when it comes to AI. And often, these are shaped by specific challenges and opportunities within their respective areas. So for example, where there is a heavy consumer focus, so you can think of retail, QSRs, entertainment, media, healthcare, financial services. They're all heavily consumer focused. And so use cases typically tend to be around hyper-personalized customer experiences. For example, personalized shopping experiences or personalizing content, like recommending, a book or a movie based on the user's preferences. Driving loyalty is especially important within this group. Understanding the customer, their market trends. How does the consumer behavior trends inform product development or marketing strategies? Now, operational efficiency tends to be another big bucket that we tend to see a lot of. So, for example, inventory management. How can AI be leveraged, to efficiently manage the inventory? How can you forecast demand more effectively? What are some of the supply chain, optimizations? There's a number of use cases around like administrative tasks, like how can you automate things to reduce the workload or predictive maintenance. So there's quite a few use cases around operational efficiencies that, again, vary industry to industry. Now, specifically for generative AI, it's comparatively new. And what we're seeing is majority of the use cases are around, summarizing and synthesizing information. So, for example, employees at contact centers, how do you enable them with the information so that they know what the next best action might be when a customer calls? So across industries, the common theme is that clients want AI to provide that enhanced efficiency, the deeper insights, the personalized experience, and those innovative solutions that will allow them to address industry-specific challenges. And what we do is we try to tailor the application of AI to those unique requirements and constraints, and ensure that it provides tangible value and address their pain points.
Well, Manju, I always like to, close these things out by asking our experts to peer into the future a little bit. So I'm curious, from your point of view, like looking out 3 years, 5 years from now, what are you excited to see, whether in that kind of advanced operational intelligence space or with generative AI, or kind of the possibilities that presents for customer experience out in the marketplace? What are you looking forward to seeing out there?
Absolutely. It's always hard to predict the future,
Sure.
But I think based on recent trends, some of the things that I see happening in the immediate future is, one, I think there will be an increase in conversation-based interactions. I used to think that, the conversational future would be through Alexa or Siri or Google. But, especially with this recent explosion of generative AI, I really think it's about talking to an AI model. So generative AI adds this completely new dimension to conversational data, whether it's audio, video, images, text. So there will be like new ways to analyze customers, provide that hyper-personalized data. You're going to see, voice-activated assistance and search. So it'll lead to more businesses like integrating these technologies into their customer service and e-commerce platforms. AI-powered chatbots, will probably become more sophisticated. They can handle more complex queries, provide more human-like interaction. So definitely that is a trend that I think will pick up. Another one, I think, is I do think customers will expect to be in more control. So definitely a strong emphasis on privacy and ethical considerations. So when you think about like value transfer, it's going to become a very key component of customer interactions. So what I mean by that is, like, if I share some information about me, I expect to know it's secure. You're transparent about how you're using my data, and I expect something in return. So I think that's going to be a trend that's going to grow. So whether it's like a monetary transaction or an exchange of personal information for a service, I think customers will expect a seamless and secure process. The reality is that customers are more likely to engage with and remain loyal to a business if they trust their data, and they trust the transactions they have with you. So I think it's important to build and maintain digital trust, and ensure the security, privacy, and ethical use of that customer data. And this will lead to customers more likely, being ready to engage and share the information they have, especially if they have that confidence that, their data is secure and there's integrity in those digital transactions. So I think, it will be important for organizations to take that privacy-first approach and have secure data practices in place. It's going to be essential to maintain that customer trust.
Yeah, totally agree. And I love those ideas and really enjoyed talking with you today. So thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. Hey, and thank you for coming as well. Another great episode of WWT Experts. We've got plenty coming up on the calendar, lots in the back catalog. Head to wwt.com/events and check that out. Those of you joining today may get a survey from us. We'd love to hear from you, and you're also welcome to email me, email our guests, and tell us what you thought, ask any questions. With that, we'll wrap for today, and we will see you next time. Thank you.